Jamel Hill made a very astute comment, and it was the brevity of it was the strength of it. It was pretty much like, well, I just want him to explain the rationale for the kneel.
Yeah, let's talk. Because the
Let's
thing
have a
is,
conversation.
people go out here and do stuff just like the Kendrick performance,
Explain
and it's
yourself.
like, oh, it's just left to your interpretation. No, if you're doing this in such uh, um, a socially active form, talk about it. What's up? Because these
Yeah.
people who don't do interviews can get away with doing anything and just leave it up to your interpretation. So you face no backlash on one end or another because it's like certain people could say, oh, it wasn't that, and certain people could give you props and say it was that.
I mean, are you saying that you, by kneeling or standing with Colin? I mean, that's the
No.
only question that really needs to be asked. By kneeling during the halftime show, are you standing with Colin and what he represents by taking the kneel? And if you can't answer that question with clearness, I mean, with clarity, with conciseness, you know,
Well, this is
like,
my thing too. Okay, you knew. I mean, to me, it's one of those things where these symbolic gestures, what do they actually do? It's
no, that's what I'm
useless,
saying. What do you
man.
do?
I'm sorry. If actual things haven't been done or activated in that way, because that's the thing. Social activists are active and they activate. You sitting there kneeling for a second without any clarity on top of that does nothing. I think
Right.
anybody with the I think anybody with the brain, doesn't want to see unarmed people, black men, killed by cops, right? So,
I mean, except for the racist people, and there's
of
millions of
course.
those
And
running
so,
around, Mike.
with all the people that Eminem has around in his history, I think that we already know that he stands with Colin Kaepernick, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what does that do? Are we surprised that someone whose best friend was Proof, someone who put on D12, someone who made it in black music, is sitting here saying, you know what? I think Colin Kaepernick's right.
No, but what he does need to explain is why he placed himself in the sphere in terms of how he represented himself in that. Because
Shut.
it's like, well, no,
I'm
no, no,
sorry.
no,
Miss Mo said something that I did want to address.
no. Let Miss Mo talk. Go
Miss
ahead.
Mo said, "Didn't Jay tell us we were past kneeling?" I guess Eminem didn't get the memo, right?
Oh, I mean,
Go
I
ahead.
didn't, I didn't know he was just doing what Jay said. That
Well,
was the
that's
thing
what
about
Jay said, right? He said that right in front of the commissioner. He said we're past kneeling.
it. Mike, it brings a whole nother level of questions. It's like, what has Jay and Rock Nation really, really done about these social issues that they claim that they were going to step in and take part in when they took on this relationship too? It just
Collect
seems like
money.
all of no. It just seems like all of our black stars are in there trying to take their piece of the pie of the money, and so it's like I want Eminem to explain, but I'm not levying any accusations or charges against him that I'm not levying against my own. Like Rock Nation needs to be brought to the front about what they haven't done that they said they were going to do about like doing because getting Dr. Dre and Snoop to perform at the Super Bowl and they're not giving me no deep cover of murder was the case. Don't do it for me because it's not hip hop. So
They
you're
didn't get
failing
Dr.
at your
Dre and
job.
Snoop to
So you're,
perform.
so you're failing
Snoop
at
did
your
one
job.
verse.
I don't need you. Like we didn't need Rock Nation to get Dr. Dre and Snoop to perform in L.A., did we? Not at that watered down format. So everybody just needs to be brought to the carpet. Eminem just needs to be brought to the carpet about what he's representing with the kneel because that affects this community and this culture because Colin did that about our culture and our community being affected by being profiled by the police and kneeled to raise the awareness at which the profiling and thereby murders were taking place. Now, what is your rationale for it?
Well, this is my thing when it comes to the Colin Kaepernick thing, right? When Kaepernick was doing it, nobody was standing by him. They waited until
Definitely not Jay Z.
everything got no. They waited till everything got watered down. Because if people remember, this happened before Trump was in office. This was when Hillary and Trump were campaigning, and Obama was still in office. And when Obama was still in office and he was out here kneeling, he was damn near kneeling by himself. There were a few players here and there that were doing it, and they were getting suspended. They were getting, they were getting cut from teams. I remember when LeBron and Steph, did a press conference or whatever before the NBA season. They said they will be standing for the pledge. They asked Steph if he knew Kaepernick because Steph was in the Bay Area. He said he never met the man. This is what happened when he was actually doing it. And all these rappers, entertainers, and all that, was nobody standing with Cap then. They wait till the shit's done and over, watered down to the point where you had owners and players kneeling on the field together. Now it's cool to kneel. Now it's cool to stand with Cap. I don't know how Cap feels about this, but I know me personally, if I had to go through what he went through and being ostracized and being basically isolated by his peers, I'd be like, man, y'all could keep that shit, man. Wasn't nobody standing by me when it was happening.
No, that doesn't help his mission and his cause and his new life. Although when he goes,
they don't help him anyway.
Hold on. When he goes home at night, he should actually definitely express and espouse that in the private company of those close to him. But how about this, Mike? He's more important to us now than all of those people because of that. So fuck those guys on that level. You feel what I'm saying? So he don't never need to say a thing because really, you know what I was thinking about and I was laughing. I was like, that's because these guys are not capped because they all cap. Next.
Well, you know, again, I think that
they all cap.
I think everybody can have their own perception of what happened, but all I can say is I'm just going with the facts. While it was going on, none of these people who claim to be standing with Cap were standing anywhere near him.
And I do want people to understand this. Like, okay, social activism coming from your entertainers and your sports stars is not social activism if they're just putting money behind it. That's a donation.
I've gotten to a point.
That's a donation and a tax write-off. That's not social activism.
Well, I mean, again, it is, but it isn't. It all depends on what your.
If they're doing what they're doing with it, which is accepting tax write-offs on it, and we know that that's what they're doing, and they're not giving their time, it's a donation to an organization, and that's not social activism.
Well, okay, all right, yeah, but you know, at the end of the day, I think there are positions in social activism, right? If you have people who do have the time and ability to actually go out there on the ground, and you have people who have the financial abilities to actually put some money behind people who are doing that with no strings attached, I think that's a level of activism. But this is what I will say.
Those are called donors. That's
fine. Okay, you could be a donor to activists, but this is what I will say. I do think that the notion of us feeling like people whose bread and butter is in entertainment and who are paid by the establishment, if we think that those people are going to be leaders and go against the grain, you're not thinking this through